Hey there, hello and welcome. It is Madeline here, and tonight I am revealing step 5 to heal anxiety, depression, and stress naturally. And this was prompted again by a video that Deepak Chopra did that I shared on all of my pages a couple of weeks ago. And he said, and now I'm hearing over and over again, oh, say something in the chat if you're watching live, because I can't see who it is. Hey, Ebony, glad you made it, girl. Good to see you, beautiful. So I'm hearing again and again and again that anxiety, depression, and stress is impacting the world in epidemic proportions, and Deepak called it a global crisis. And I agree. 44 million people in the United States alone are being medicated for anxiety. So what does that mean? What is the number who aren't being treated or taking medication for anxiety? So I've been laying out the steps for how to heal it naturally, because I believe that anxiety and depression and stress are not to be treated. They're not to be managed. They're to be healed, right? So they're not a thing. And that when negative emotions show up, we know how to deal with them. And just a little sneak preview, that's I think that might be step number 6. Okay, so step number 5 is move. All right, exercise, right? Not rocket science. So how does exercise help anxiety and depression? Well, let me remind you how anxiety and depression work, right? How stress works in the body. Anxiety specifically. So anxiety is the fight or flight response, right? The stress response is the fight or flight response. And essentially what happens is when we have a perceived danger, whether real or imagined, our physiology shuts down everything that we don't need to fight or run and amps up everything that we do need to fight or run. Okay? So this is brilliant when we're in trouble, but as you can imagine, this is not a good physiological state to be in when we're not in danger. And when we are worried, anxious about things that are not a real danger, hey Christine, good to see you. This is a problem, right? Like we don't want our blood pressure up when we're not in danger. We don't want our digestion passages being evacuated when we are not in danger. We don't want stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline pumping when we're not in danger. And that's what happens, right? So that's what happens. And then over time, if this becomes a perpetual state, then this becomes our perpetual physical state. And that's when we start to feel sick, right? That's when anxiety becomes a thing, right? That's when stress becomes a thing, because now it's showing up in our physiology. It's showing up as symptoms and it's making us feel bad, right? And depending on how long and how much your anxiety has been a part of your life depends on how sick you feel, okay? And then heaven forbid you're like me, and I really want to get to you before you get to the point where I was 10 years ago, where I just have a nervous breakdown, because your body and your mind can only take so much, and then eventually it's going to break down, right? So I want you to get your anxiety under control, heal it well before that happens, okay? And wherever you are in your anxiety journey, I can help you, right? That's what we do in my Primordial Power program, is we heal anxiety, depression, stress naturally and make that thing a thing of the past, okay? So back to how anxiety and stress affects our physiology. So I just explained that to you. If you're just coming in, you want to catch it from the beginning, because I just explained the anatomy of stress really briefly. And so essentially those negative emotions, right? The impact, the result of your anxiety and depression on our physiology clogs the body, for lack of a better term, right? And it constricts the free flow of energy and information. Does that make sense? Or does it ring true to you? So what does that look like, right? What do those words look like? That looks like fatigue, not sleeping, always being tired, being grumpy, cranky, irritable, not being able to concentrate or focus, right? Everyone's funny and says, oh, I have ADD. No, you don't, right? And you shouldn't say things like that. Our words matter. Your inability to focus and concentrate and process information, right? That's real, right? That's your body's response to stress, to anxiety, to depression. It's physiological, and it affects our body, our mind, and our spirit, right? So the good news is that there are natural solutions, right? As you probably know my story, I'll tell it again at some point, but 10 years ago, nervous breakdown from anxiety. I came apart. I was devastated by anxiety. I was home on leave. I was home on medical leave for a surgery that I had, and it was a good thing because I wouldn't have been able to work had I not already been on leave. And I was home on leave for about 6 to 8 weeks for that surgery. I forget how long I stayed home exactly. And then I went back to work at 6 to 8 weeks, and it was too early for me to go to work, but I went, right? I went and I pushed through because I didn't want people to know, right? So that I didn't want people to know that I was anxious, and I didn't want people to know that I was so anxious that I was sick with anxiety and couldn't work. So I pushed through, and these steps that I've been sharing with you in this series is how I healed myself, okay? And so today is step number 5, right? Exercise. I know it's not rocket science. None of these are rocket science, but I know that if you're suffering from anxiety and or depression, they often go hand in hand, don't they? That you'll be hard pressed to implement these what seemingly simple changes into your life, but know that it's possible. And if you need help, I'm here to help you. This is what my primordial power does, right? It helps you integrate these principles and lifestyle into your life. And then I love you and hold you accountable throughout the process. So exercise, how does exercise heal anxiety? So when you move, right, our bodies are meant to move, okay? They're meant to move. We're not meant to be sedentary. And I know in today's modern world, in today's modern workplace, we're sitting a lot, and then we sit in our cars to and from, and then we come home and we sit in front of the television, perhaps, okay? And if you're exercising, that's on a regular basis, that's fantastic. You're already ahead of the curve. But how does exercise help, right? So when we're moving, particularly if you're moving at the pace of, you're exercising, ideally you want to get your heart rate up a little bit. And I'm not talking about any crazy workouts like, P90X and Insanity or any of those. Like, those are cool if those are your jam, but it doesn't have to be like that, right? Like a brisk walk will do it. Taking the stairs will do it. Parking your car further away is a good place to start if you are in a place where you have been completely sedentary and haven't been exercising at all. But why is it good for us, right? So because when we exercise to the point of getting our heart rate up a little bit, where it's actually exercise and we're not just walking to and fro, right? Our brain secretes happy hormones, right? We get endorphins, which make us feel good. Our cortisol levels and our adrenaline levels, those stress hormones, are reduced, okay? Dopamine, what I like to call the love hormone, right, really makes us feel good. That dopamine is the drug that is released in our brain when you hug or kiss a loved one, okay? That's released. We release dopamine when we exercise, when we work out. When we work out, serotonin is released in our brains, which is the active ingredient in antidepressants. So, my loves, you don't need to take a pill. You can go for a walk instead. You can get on the treadmill instead. You can do some yoga instead. Yoga is really a lot of big bang for your buck because it's also meditative, right? So, and it's also doing the lowering of the blood pressure. And yoga, together with yoga and exercise in general, have a lot of the same benefits as meditation, one of which is boosting your immune system and essentially returning your physiology back to normal, okay? So after my breakdown, I would take my pill every day. my pill of exercise every day. I would go for, I was getting up, at the time I was working in corporate, so I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning so I could go for my walk before work, so I could meditate, my other pill, before work, and eating clean, right? Which I've already, excuse me, which I've already talked about in steps 1 through 4. And you might be thinking, Madeline, you're not telling me anything new. No, I'm not. Am I? But it's simple. It's so simple, but it's not easy. I know, I've been there, right? I've been there, and I want you to know tonight that you can get to the other side, right? You can get to the other side and without medication, right? So if your doctor's telling you to, to take medication for your anxiety or mild starting depression, I'm telling you, don't do it, right? Let's talk and see about another solution for you. And if you are on medication, I can help you too, together with your doctor, of course, because I'm not a medical professional. So once you start implementing these 5 steps, you can get on the road back to healing, right? So, that's where I was. So they're simple, but they're not easy. And I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. But if you're suffering from anxiety and depression, you just can't do it, right? It's not your fault, right? You just can't do it because now your body is clogged. Your body is clogged with the negative effects of anxiety and or depression. They often go hand in hand, I know. And you just can't get out of your own way. So for example, it's Tuesday, right? Have you been to the gym? Right? We're always going to start on Monday. We're going to start the diet on Monday. We're going to start working out on Monday. We're going to start meditating on Monday. We're going to start doing all the things on Monday. It's Tuesday. Have you done it? If you have, I applaud you, and give the other people who are watching some love. And you know that if you are exercising, it's not enough. You need to do all of the things. Okay? It's also the end of February. All right? So where are we with our New Year's goals? And where are you with your fitness goals, with your getting healthy goals, with your starting the diet, with the eating clean, with your getting your anxiety, your stress, your depression under control? Where are you with all of those things? The time is now, my love. And it's not hard. It is hard, but it's not, it doesn't have to be. It's pretty simple. And what you need is love and support, which is what you get in my Primordial Power program. And you also get my secret weapon that I'm going to talk about in step 6 or 7. And my secret weapon, right? So I've been talking about all these things that is not rocket science, right? So the steps, if I can remember off the top of my head, are good sleep, meditation, nourishing food and intake. Step 4, connecting with nature and each other. And now we're on step 5, which is moving and exercise. Not rocket science, nothing new, but you have to do them all in order to be effective. You have to take all of your pills, right? All of your pills those steps 1 through 5 every day in order to make progress. And it's slow progress. I know I healed my anxiety this way without medication, and I'm glad I did. And it was a long, long and lonely road. I figured it all out on my own. But what I've done is I've put together what I learned in a program so you can get results fast. And I have my secret weapon, which I'm going to tell you about tomorrow, in step 6 or 7, which puts all of this on steroids without the steroids. That's an analogy. Okay, right? So it accelerates all these results exponentially. All right, I'm going to share that with you in the next step, in step 6 or 7. I'm not sure which. So look for those. So that's that. Oh, and the other thing is that successful people do all these things, right? Successful people exercise. All right, successful people do all of the things that I've mentioned in all of the steps. And I know that you are a successful people, right? And you want to be even more badass than you already are, which is why we're hanging out together. I applaud you. And they do all of these things because why? Because you have to do all of these things in order to be a badass, right? In order to be super successful badass, you have to do all the things that I'm saying. And if you've been with me this far, you know that that's true, right? You know that that's true on some level. okay? And if you know that that's true and you just don't know how to get there, for you, my love, book a breakthrough call with me, right? Have a breakthrough before you have a breakdown, okay? And you schedule that call. It's completely free, and we'll get to the bottom of what's going on with you, and we will map a plan to get you moving in the right direction, okay? And you schedule that call by going to MadelynCorrea.com/talk. I'll put the link in the comments. So I see that there are some people watching live. If you have any questions, let me know what questions you have in the chat. I hope this serves you, right? It's really this simple. I promise. It's really this simple. And you know that, right? You know that on some level, but you need help getting out of your own way. I get that. So if that's you, if what I'm saying speaks to you, schedule a breakthrough call. I have some openings in the next few days. And I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you're not in my private group already, go join that, because that's where you get the meditations, right? We're still doing the meditation challenge in there, although we're wrapping it up. And I already said schedule the call, right? So you know how to find me. I'll put the link in the comments below, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. And until then, I will see you in the gap. Namaste. Be blessed. Mwah.